So modern prosthetics. This is about finding the best way to control the robotic prosthetics. Um, these are better than the traditional prosthetics for a lot of people. This is going to improve the quality of life overall and reconstruct critical ranges of motion of important limbs. There's a few ways that these are controlled. One is EMG, that is muscle controlled. It is monitoring muscle activity to correlate to what you want the limb to do, and the other is EEG, that is your brain control. That's monitoring brain activity for what you would want your muscle to do. It was uncovered that most of the studies preferred different methods of using the non-invasive EMG and EEG used to control the devices, but some found that osseointegrated fixations may be more effective at the cost of intrusiveness. Those osseointegrated fixations are your surgically implanted type of deals. The Soft Hand Pro is a pre-built robotic hand. They came up with a way to redo the way the robotic hand is controlled and using EMG to control it instead of, since it's a robotic, it's going to use a computer to control it. This one is now using muscle activity to tell the computer what you want it to do. The individuals had more success because this was a lot more advanced than a typical robotic prosthetic would already be. They did find that they had to prevent these subjects from doing it while they were trying to use it. That made it more likely to move, as now the patients were, instead of trying to move the prosthetic, they were trying to control their hand. And the lack of visual cues helped them concentrate more. This study definitely focuses on the controlling methods of the prosthetic. For transhumeral amputation, that's going to be amputation above your shoulder. You're going to lose control of your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, and your fingers. These are all very important, and this is one of your most disabling conditions. EMG and EEG without surgery or arm activity, what that's talking about is the EEG. A lot of times people want to surgically implant brain monitoring, which is obviously extremely intrusive and very dangerous. EMG, a lot has been prescribed to attach these electrodes to your arm. If the patient does not have an arm, that is not possible and not practical at all. So what they did is they attached the EMG instead to the deltoid muscle, and they monitored EEG from outside the head rather than doing surgery. They found that this did work, so they could do it without those two being intrusive or using an arm that the patient doesn't have. Study demonstrated that it is possible to reconstruct the hand's position from non-invasive technologies without using EMG along the arm. Again, transradial is you're below the elbow, so you're mostly losing your forearm and your hand. They, rather than like the Soft Hand Pro, they try to teach the patients a stock system. They instead taught the system the patients. So they had the computer learn from what it was doing and whether the results were positive or negative. This was quicker for rehabilitation purposes and also helped them establish more guidelines for surgery. So if they were going to amputate the hand, they knew what they would need still for the computer to learn from these specific muscles to do what it needs to do. The end results are more control of the limb. This was a very effective study. The more load-bearing prosthetics would be your legs. They have to be able to store a great amount of energy, and if they always have to be charged, it's not very effective. Someone can't go a certain amount of time throughout the day without their leg because it needs to be charged. It's just not convenient at all. So power prosthetics consume energy and a large battery is required to allow a full day of activity without recharging. The leg was a little bit easier because they have that less degree of freedom, but it does bear such a great load. And what they did is they monitored the gait cycle and they found out that they could charge the system from the negative work, which is the swinging of your leg. So when you push off in your step, the motors would run and you use that energy. But in the next step, you would swing your leg forward and they would wind up like a clock. You use that energy to be stored for the next step. This is a lot better than these non-robotic types of prosthetics. Those are extremely taxing on the body, and it shows the need for these because your legs are such an important muscle group that it's hard to support yourself when you don't have the muscles of your legs. So these robotics will help with that. And they weren't really helping if they always had to be charged. So this kind of solved that issue. There's osseointegrated fixations. Those are surgically implanted attachments for a prosthetic. This was more for their legs, but these performed better, and the gait cycle looked more like non-disabled function. It comes into play with hip height when they install the socket style. The patients exhibit a lot of hip height when they walk, or their hips, the legs were stiff, so when they step, it would shoot their hip up, which would tilt their body in their walk. They did say that the degradation and damage to the surrounding muscles has not been examined and is worth a look at a later time, but they believe that it is worth it. This is permanent though, so someone may not opt for this because there's no real going back after this. In the end, these are all going to improve the quality of life for patients. In the end, these systems are working towards being more comparable to non-disabled functionality. The main differences usually lie in the controlling methods themselves. They all were unique because they all focused on a type of amputation that was slightly different from the rest. But they all have their pros and cons. But that is about all I have on the subject of modern prosthetics. I would like to thank you for being helpful throughout the semester and have a great summer.